We're talking about what you're talking about. So where you guys get to lead the way down in the comment section. I'll be your facilitator on this round. And again, you're leading the way. Not sure what we want to talk about today, this morning. Usually I have a topic. Not always though, because it's important to let you guys come in and express what's on your minds. Because a lot of us are in the same position. And so if you're thinking about it, I may know something about it, and somebody else may want to know something about it. So we can all come on here and talk about it. Father willing. And while we wait for you guys to come in the comment section, let me go get to where I can see a comment section. Of course, I'll be chit-chatting about this, that, and wasting time. Giving the Father time to come in too now. We want to give him all praise and communications, because it may be my fingers that push the button. May be me that actually opens my mouth to start speaking initially. But what he promises in the script is that if we are willing vessels, he will purposes. In other words, he will take over the conversation. So we give him plenty of room to do that. Especially while we wait for you guys to come in. Conversation down in the comment section. So one of the first things on my mind here is the year we're in. The year 2025. I've been waiting on this year for a long time. So long that by now you see minimal excitement. Like, is that big a deal? Why ain't he saying nothing? Yeah, it's because we done been through this a lot of times over the years, finding verses in the Bible that can be to give us predictions. The Bible makes predictions. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Coach. Hey, chat.
We just chit-chatting on there. We got Aurum Faber in the comment section. Says, good morning, Coach. And chat. We got 5 people watching this morning. If you wonder why we come on at odd hours, it's because we have to ask for permission. I can't, I have to get permission. I had a boss. I have to go to the boss and say, hey, boss, can I go sit down, go pick some peas today or something, and that's actually. So then when we have a day when we can do it, come on and have a communication. You don't waste much time getting it started. All right. Just share that over and we can get some more people interested. We got Royal Princess of the Most High Yah. Say Shalom, Coach and family. Peace, love, light, Abba will be done. And that's, I shouldn't say it's funny. I know why it is, but it's actually Royal Princess of the Most High Yah was on my mind when I actually got up to start making this video. Because that channel is featuring some of our videos over there, some of the most important videos over there, as if they are taking up the fight. They're taking up the battle in a remote location. That's really important. That's always been important. I've always asked you guys to do that. That's why when you look down in the description of my videos, you see it said Creator Commons, free to use on the videos. That's so that anybody can capture anything that we do on this channel and put it, because it's about getting the word out. You don't have to use, you don't have to give me credit. I don't even give me credit. So if I don't give me credit, then you don't need to give me credit. So you just take whatever you want, stuff about the calendar. You can, if you wanted to teach your people about how the calendar works on your channel, you can go in and pirate videos off of my channel free of charge. Just get them, take them over there, put them up, do what you want to do. Free to giving, free to, yeah. So Royal Princes of the Most High Yah, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the first channels to actually do that. Videos about salvation, what it takes to get saved. We don't talk about that all the time over here, even though some of you guys need to know about that. Why you say us? Why didn't you tell yourself? Well, it's a path. Salvation is a path. Not all of us is at the beginning of that path. Some of us have been on this path for a while. Some of you guys are trying to find where the path is, especially this lady. Paths. You be looking in church for a little while, and then you figure out that ain't the right church. You get up to a religious organization, you sit there for a little while, and nope, that ain't it. And you get up and go to another one. What you're doing is you're trying to find the path. You find out about that path in the books of the New Testament and the Gospels. You find out about the path. He is the path. Remember, he said he is the way. He is the path. He is the instructions. He's the living instructions. That's what's beautiful about it all. Is we can go back to a book, but we got a whole person that we can point back to and see how that person portrayed that book, how he illustrated that book for us through his life. And then even now, we're starting to welcome him in through the Spirit. And so, it's really, some people really need to know how that all works. And so, over here now, we're in the advanced classes now, graduate level classes here now. We're studying stuff like the Keys of Enoch, Legends of the Jews, or well past the basics where we started from, King James Version of the Bible. Well, a lot of times we don't cover all of that new stuff. So she sent me a thing and she said, these are the subjects that a new person would be interested in. What videos could you suggest? And so I went down through all of the 1,500 videos and tried to find at least video that matched what she was talking about. And so she put them up on the channel over there. That is, let me read it off. Let me read it. Royal Princess of the Most High Yah. Anyway, we're looking over here at Revelation chapter 2. Not sure if we want to talk about that. But if y'all don't come up with some more comments, I'm going to have to keep ranting. Keep wasting time. Who's that? Oh, that's still Chris. You want to say hi to YouTube again? They ain't saying nothing. They quiet on there. I'll get the next one. You got good?
I don't know if y'all did, but we celebrated second Pentecost yesterday. I hope anybody who celebrated good Pentecost.
Yeah, we celebrated. You guys were here when we did the live stream. After we cut out that live stream, we went through the whole rigmarole, like barbecuing, trying to play some joyous music, and even though it wasn't a required feast day, and the purpose of to try to do something in the name of the Lord, just having the opportunity to, we don't get many opportunities to feast with we want to, you know. There's just not that many feast days or Sabbath days. And so when you have them regular old days, you be looking for some way to celebrate. And you don't want to just, pick nothing up, do nothing odd, because it could end up, starting some type of tradition that later on could turn into some pagan day or whatever. And so when we saw Pentecost or second Pentecost on the thing, decided to go ahead and participate fully. You can, put some yard bird on the grill and bread and the whole nine. We didn't have the sourdough. I got to figure out what happened to it. But just getting together in the name of the Lord, right, Chris?
Right. Hey, grandma, the whole family.
Yeah. So we was able to have guests. That we had, it wasn't a real big deal. Others, so like I said, we did the whole 90. We even had one of you guys to give in a contribution yesterday. Appreciate that. Pleasant. So you guys do that. You did pretty good in first Passover. The way it works. A lot of times it's misunderstood how contributions work as far as the Bible is concerned. Back in the Bible, they didn't have money. Nobody really had money until the days of Egypt. Before then, they had grains and different food and animals that they had to put up for their tithes. And you can imagine they didn't do so every week. Every day or every week or like we do now. And so what they had was the storehouse. Now, let me. I gotta ad lib a little bit. I gotta add a little bit here to make a story out of this. Not all of this is scriptural, so I have to warn you. I may even forget that I said it. What I was going to say, but it's like you work all week long gathering in your vegetables, your food, your grain, your animals for the Sabbath day meal. Right? The whole week is about the Sabbath day. So all week long, you're gathering stuff for the Sabbath day meal. And then come Sabbath day prep, you prepare that meal. And then stuff all week. What if you have a better on the Sabbath day of the week, they would take that grain the next day after the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is the last day. And so on the first day, they would take the grain into the storehouse. Everybody would have a storehouse. We would call it a pantry or something now. But we would store that extra grain up. And then next week, we'd go get some more, have the Sabbath day, and then the extra we put in the storehouse. And then comes time for us to go in for the feast days, like Passover, Pentecost, especially Pentecost, and unleavened bread, when we would actually go in to meet with the priest and the other over the temple. We would go into that storehouse that was there at our place, load up our carts, our donkeys and our mules and our horses and all of that in our carts with all of this stuff from the storehouse. And then we would take that in on a Pentecost day into Jerusalem and hand it over to the priest. The priests, the guys in charge of the temple, would then take that and actually literally cook it. They wasn't just burning it up. They was having a full live barbecue in Jerusalem, you can imagine, with music and everything going on, a huge big deal where everybody's brought the food in, the grains in, the mint in, wine, everybody, they bread, everything. They brought in, they just handed it over to the priest. The priest cooks what's necessary. You have to read the script really, really carefully, because what does he do with what's left? You got all of these people that's brought in all of this stuff. Well, now that gets to go home with him, and that's now how he gets to feed his family. My point is that this is a once a year thing. It's like a big deal once a year. And so we had a few of you guys, a couple or three of you guys who came in and support the channel heavily on, y'all helped rebuild the tractor for us. Y'all helped rebuild the power system for us, getting electricity. You notice I don't cry so much about not having power and losing power and all of that kind of stuff. Y'all help with that big time. You notice, you don't notice because I can't drive the tractor and make the videos, but if you were here, you would notice all of the food we have growing out there in the field. Praise the Lord. Father in heaven, pray for it. But I know one day this food is going to be necessary. They're going to mess something up out there, and people are going to be glad to come down here and pick these peas. And so y'all pray my strength in the Lord that I'm able to, learn this stuff. I'm not a farmer. I grew up in coal country, West Virginia mountains, coal country. I would have been a coal miner, except they mechanized the coal industry before I grew up. Else, I'd probably have black lung. So, let's see what we're talking about. It's early in the morning. I'm gonna have to draw lots. I thought by now y'all would have gave me a subject. Let me do speak on the book of life. You guys are sleeping on that. I don't know what's wrong with you. You don't feel like reading the Bible? You're talking about a Bible that you ain't got. You ain't got it. Ain't nobody got it that you know of. Except me. Royal Princess of the Most High Yah, she got a copy of it. Aurum Faber, he got a copy of it. You don't know nobody else with a copy of it. And in the whole world. In the whole world. In the whole world. In the whole world. You don't know nobody with it. Why? Because it's too big to print. Once you print it out on paper in very small font, 10, which some of you can't read without the glasses. I can't read it without my glasses. I literally cannot read 10 font. Type of visual aid to read 10 font. The book is in 10 font. And even in that lower font, margins are tight, no pictures. Printed on both sides, that's still 7 pages of paper. That's still 700 pages of paper. Still 700. They be complaining on thing how them bills be 9. The Congress have set all of their big 900-page bill up on the pulpit or whatever they call it, and say, oh, it's so huge. Well, that's 900 pages. But, like I said, both sides. If you don't print it both sides, this one will be 108 pages. It's only 700 on both sides. But when they holler it's a 900-page bill, they don't be talking about both sides. They don't be talking about two-sided or nothing. It's 900 pages, probably 900 pages. It's a 1,500-page book. Who's going to print it for you? Nobody can sell it. That's why nobody can print it. It's because nobody can sell it. Well, I ain't gonna say that's why nobody can sell it. So what company would invest in all of this paper and ink to print you a book that they got to give away? They can't even charge you to ship it. Can't even ask you for money to ship it. Your pocket with everything. The shipping, the paper, the ink, all that. Now you tell me what company gonna do that for you? It's literally in the book. It's like the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, you can't sell it. The whole Bible don't tell you nowhere in there not to sell it. That's why it's the #1 selling book on the planet. Talking about the Bible, #1 selling book on the planet of all times. Because you can sell it and print it and sell it to you. You can go on Google right now and buy all you want. But the Third Testament says not to sell it, not to merchandise it. And so you literally cannot sell it. You have to give it. And it is very difficult to give people stuff. People don't easy. You go down there and ask the guy down there in Las Vegas passing out them little cards, them little flyers on the street, how hard it is to give somebody. I ask him. He ain't doing nothing but trying to give somebody something for ask for nothing. All he want to do is put it in your hand. Come on in, stay. All he want to do. You remember that guy down on the street in Las Vegas? He was passing out them little cards. He put the card in your hand and keep on walking. You remember that guy?
Good morning, everybody. Yep.
And so that's you ask him how hard it is. You have to make you some coffee. You're gonna have to help you. You have to ask them how hard it is, how hard that job is to actually literally give somebody something for free. Why? Because people, they don't want you walking up and giving them nothing. Most people just drive, won't take it. There's very few people, and it's usually somebody like me just showed up for the first day in Las Vegas that will actually say, "Oh, thank you," and take it. But then once I read it and find out what it is, I ain't gonna take it no more. Like, no. But anyway, we're talking about the book of people interested in ordering the book of life. We ain't getting that many orders. We're only getting a few. We're keeping up too good. Remember when we first started selling the clock? Remember it was hard to keep up. We would have to have clock day where all of us would get together and work on the clocks all day, printing and cutting and all that, boxing and shipping and get it out. Selling 4, 5, 6 at a time. Now these books, they going out pretty slow, so we're keeping up. Too good. We need y'all to order the books. And if you already got them, we understand that. You understand? My fault. It's my fault. I knew that would be the biggest problem is me getting the word out. I think what I'm gonna have to do, and I've always thought that, is that I'm gonna have to get on the road and start going to trade shows with the book and the clock. What I'm thinking is that I will go to the trade show in the name of the clock, saying, "Hey, y'all, look at this clock. Great clock. Look at this clock. Come over here. Look at this fantastic thing, this clock." But then when they come over to look, they actually walk away with a third testament. We talk them in and saying, well, this is much more important than this clock. The clock ain't nothing but a device, And the whole world may change and it may not be, even accurate after the pole shift. We don't even know. But this book right here is what you really want. And then we'd be able to carry the book from county to county, state to state, and do it that way. Advertising. And then as we travel, we'd be able to visit churches and give it that way. I knew that doing it this way, coming on here and keep telling y'all to order these books was going to be a problem. I learned that through the clock. A bunch of y'all hurry up and buy it real quick. The smart ones, hurry up and get it real quick. I said it. And then the other ones, they'll drag along. When they realize that everybody else didn't got it, they'll come in. And then that'll be it. Everybody will be like, I got it already. So we're going to have to find some ways to get it out. You can advertise it on your channel. Use your channel. Well, that's another thing you could do. You can say, "Hey, Coach in the Fight over there ordering or taking orders for books." And then you can tell your people about the book, especially the Testament. You found any channel that teach the Third Testament?
Third Testament.
You want to come over here? I can move this. Like who?
Brother Maine. He teaches the Third Testament as well as the Book of Knowledge. Is that it? That scientific book. I can't remember the name of it. That out of that book a lot, and remember all the as well.
See, them guys need to definitely order a copy. They're ones that's teaching out of the book because it's a reference book, and you want to have it on this shit. Pull up, what it is you're talking about. I got the Bible on my phone. I can sit here and pull up any verse that I want on my phone electronically, but also within arm's reach, we got the straight up book.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't know about it because um, he has quite a few followers as well. So if he seems like the type of person who would, get the message.
People that's teaching the Third Testament, talking about the Third Testament, go on their channel and say, hey, Coach in the Fight is giving them away. Printing them out. Printing them off like hotcakes, popping them off like. We're putting them in a binder. We got these binders that we're putting them in, so you ain't got all the paper to deal with. It's actually in a binder that you can work with and keep. It's coming in 2 copies, 2 loaves right now because it's so big. We're putting it in, priority shipping boxes. We're shipping them out, including jump drives with them. You got the paper, but they're also going to have the jump drives. We're kind of working out what all needs to be on the jump drives. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, those are those little computer chip things that you plug through the back of your laptop computer or something like that and transfer the information. You'll be able to carry it down to the local library if you ain't got no computer. We'll probably have pictures and stuff that you can carry down to the local Kinko's and maybe get the clock printed off. It's a big 4x4 foot thing. So we're working to get all of that in a folder right now. We're kind of going back and forth with some people, as we work out the bugs. But any new order should have that chip to come with it. So you're getting the book and the chip. And if you notice, I don't throw the clock in there so quick. Notice that Snake's been a little bit stingy lately with the clocks. Guess why? Because China, they came from China. We can't get. I don't know if we can get anymore. Remember the big deal? We ordered them from China. Had to wait, like a whole month before them to make them and ship them across the water and all of that. I don't know. Them days may be over.
Yeah, but they can always get the free download that's available on the coachinthefight.shop for tariffs and all the stuff that's going on. A lot of stuff that we probably ain't gonna be able to get, not as quickly and easily as before.
Yeah, and so we still giving them away, but it's not so freely, just ain't just slinging them out the trunk of the car riding down the highway like we. Let's see if we got any comments.
So like I said, there's a few. I would just have to go on his page comments because different people have different channels.
Yeah, and you guys, if y'all know of different people, give a shout out. It's both ways. Tell them I said hi, and then tell them come over here and because I'll be looking for channels to look at too. But I'm gonna tell you, when I go on the channel, it's like going to church. I go to a whole lot of churches, Stacey. I go to all kinds of churches all over the place. When I sit there, I either go straight to the front row or straight to the back row. If I go to the back row, it's there because that's probably my first time to observe, and I'm looking around. And what I'm looking for, red flags. Every church will tell you what their red flag is. All you got to do is look around at the decorations. Is it a bunch of pictures and junk on the wall? Is it American flag on the wall? If it's an American flag on it, does it have a truck on it or does it have an eagle on it? You got all kinds of clues and stuff in there to see who it is you're listening to. You look at the Reverend Pastor Deacon Dr. Doug up there. Does he got on the big Jesus piece and all of that? You can figure out all of these clues. Well, the same thing with a channel. When you pop onto a channel and the first thing you see is the guy's eyeballs and teeth and all of that, looking in my face like he the newscaster. No. He is off track. He is going to lead people astray. He is breaking the commandments. Go ahead and whistle. He is breaking, I'll say it like it is. He is breaking the commandments. Have turned the picture toward himself. Is looking at him, got everybody looking at his face. Is turned the picture toward himself. And so he's breaking the commandments and he's teaching you to do so too. He's set himself up as a prophet, an inspired teacher. Like me, anybody they're an inspired teacher is a prophet. Is somebody just get up and read Psalms 23 and say that's what it meant. He's not really reading for what it is. That's regular old layman in that moment becomes an inspired a prophet. But what is he prophesying? He's prophesying right here, but the main message that we're hearing is that it's okay to break the second commandment because he got his face up there. And then when you, so that's just one flag. That's the flag. You click on the video, you know you need to be clicking off the video. What if you like somebody else turned the camera on him? He the camera on him. Somebody else did that. He was just minding his own self business. This is on somebody's phone. He don't even know this is going on. Okay, well let's listen and see what he's got to say. Listen to other red flags, all centered around the commandments. What is he saying about the commandments? Sure, if he's telling you you should go lift weights and exercise, and so all right, that's cool. If he's telling you you should even root for someone, pray for Auburn University, that might be halfway off. What is he telling you? Is he telling you that you have to obey the commandments? Telling you that you can do what you want, or that you can have an alternative opinion, or that it's really up to you for your interpretation and all of that? And it does tell you that it's up to your interpretation. All he's doing is just I mean by a false prophet. He's just telling you what you want to hear. You go into him and you say, hey, should I get a divorce and marry somebody else? Whatever he's saying, whatever you're saying. Should I go play the lottery every day? Whatever you saying, if you go in and say, should I burn down my house and collect false taxes or false insurance, he's going to tell you yes. He's going to tell you a false prophet is going to tell you the Lord is behind you, because he really believes that. It ain't have faith, and he believes the same go for you. You can do whatever you want, and everything gonna work out for you just like it is for him.
Yeah, be aware of the people that you're
Listening to.
Yeah.
Oh, like the Bible says, in the Matthew 24, when it starts talking about all these bad things, these signs that we'll know when the tribulation starts. False Christ. And what does that mean? A false messenger. Christ is a messenger. That's what Christ means. It means messenger. It don't really mean. There's even a lot of human messengers. The Reverend Pastor Deacon. He is a messenger. He is a Christ. He's coming to teach you about Christ. That's what the message is about Christ, who is the way. But like I said, it will be false Christ who will teach a false path. And what is the false path? Apostasy. That you don't have to actually keep the commandments and all of that. And what's wrong with that is times, and when, like you see the whole world going through what it's going through, if you don't obey the laws, you're going to get caught in a washing machine. You're going to get caught up in it like the spin cycle. You ain't going to do nothing about it. It's what's drawing them in. There's a precept in the Bible that says that if you change the Sabbath day, like you don't go by what the celestials say, but you actually modify it and change it, create it and put it on your own day. There's a passage in the Old Testament that says you will be bombed. Literally says that you will be bombed. Like they're going to blow you up. So that's what you're seeing going on in the news, is that all of these prophecies and all of this stuff like this is being fulfilled. And that brings us to our next comment. The Elite 4 Productions. How do you know Revelation is real? Just face it. How do you know Revelation is real? The book of Revelation, I assume it's talking. How do you know Revelation is real?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is every scripture is inspired. And so the scriptures are God's words. And so that's real. I mean, God's words are true. How do I know that if he's talking about the prophecies of Revelation are real?
Yeah.
Then I would say that they've been, many of the prophecies have already been proven and in time the other ones will be. So everything that the Word of God says, nobody has yet to be able to find an opposition of something that's not true. Like I said, the prophecies have already been fulfilled. Many of them already will be fulfilled. And so, yeah, that's my best explanation as to why I say.
You took my answer. That was the answer that I was going to give too. Because it predicts the future. And simple as there's how else can you have a book that predicts the future? You know, I mean, it put itself out there that I'm going to predict the future with an exclamation point at the end of it. Did it all throughout history. You don't have to go to Yale or Harvard and study Antiochus Epiphanes. Just pick up the book of Daniel. Just pick up the Bible. Just pick up the book of King Daniel. Pick up the book of Ezekiel. Pick up the book of Matthew, Revelation, and you could get past, present, during, as if he was almost there, and future of the events going on with the temple. Down to the letter. In the book of Daniel, which you need to understand, you're going to have a hard time with Revelation. In the book of Daniel, it gives the dates down to the month as to when they would actually put a dome over the rock. Y'all know it's a dome of the rock. Well, you got to think, how significant is it to put a dome over that rock? You say the rock is way more significant than the dome. Well, Revelation and Daniel told us the exact day and month, even almost an hour, that they would actually do such a thing. Thousands of years later. Just the thousands of years later. And then he came back again and prophesied the current events of what's going on now. No? Come on, it's telling us the future. It's telling us in Matthew 24 and compare it to hold up the Bible like a checklist and just, go to Google and say, show me a report about earthquakes. Show me a report about this, that, and the wars or rumors of wars. You can actually have a checklist. It's told the future. Down to the letter of what's going on today. And like I said, it gives mathematics when you consider the books of Daniel and the books of Ezekiel. You can actually calculate the day and the month that it's going to happen. That's where we started this conversation. I think we were going to talk about the year 2025 and the significance of such. It's going there. It's going to go down this year. And so how do we know? It's that. And so we say proof that it tells the future. All right, Friday, look at this. Revelation 12. I'm going to read that stuff. You got glasses on. Read a few verses of that. We're going to show him how the Bible predicts the future or predicted the future. Scientifically.
No, Revelation appeared a great wonder in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now here you got this dude, John, who was in a for serving the Lord back then. He was the youngest of the disciples. The disciple that was younger than the Messiah. You know that? If you read the Third Testament, the Book of Life, paying attention to Elect 144 Gathering and the books of life that she's putting out over there. One of the recent ones talks about how the Messiah was actually the youngest how the Messiah was younger than all of the disciples. So that's why John lived so long. He lived almost something. All the other ones were dead, by then. And so he was the oldest guy there. And so he was the youngest guy. He was on Patmos. By the time he writes this book, he's and the Messiah's gone. All the other disciples have been literally the only one left there in prison. And coming to him and asking him, John, what's going on? Hey, John, you remember the Messiah? Can you tell us? They thought it was crazy according to the Third Testament. They thought because all he would say was you got to love each other. They didn't come hundreds of miles to hear him give this great speech about the Messiah. And he would say, love each other. They were trying to shake him. Man, say something else besides, man, that's all we got to do. Love each other. What was he spitting out? He spit out the book of Revelation. An astronomer. He didn't have a telescope. But yet, he's spitting out all of this stuff that he didn't understand. There's no way, my point is, there's no way for him to understand what he was talking about when he wrote this verse. A woman in heaven. He's going to see a woman in heaven. What does it say? Found some glasses. A great woman in heaven. Now, how would he know what that was talking about? He don't even know what heaven is at that point. Remember, the Messiah came in introducing heaven. He said the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Ain't nobody ever said that before the Messiah. So the Messiah comes in introducing the idea of heaven. One of the first people he told is John. Did now John have made a correlation between the kingdom of heaven and what's actually going on here in Revelation 12? For the guy who actually wrote the comment, he ain't even got a clue what's going on yet. He like, what heaven? What woman? But notice it gets very specific. Very, very, very specific. When he says, clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and under her head a crown of 12 stars. You say, well, how could he have known that? What is that talking about, say?
It's referring to the heavens of the and this is, I believe, one of the most high created the firmament heaven.
Yeah, that's the heaven that we're talking about, the sky. You know, they call the dome, the firmament now, we call that the Van Allen belt or the radiation belt, you know, but, you know, they tried to blow it up in Project Goldfish. I'll look that up, how they try to blow up the firmament in Project Goldfish. Write that down. Make sure you go look that up after this video. They try to do what? Blow up the firmament, Project Goldfish. And so this is what it's talking about. But my point is, how did John know that? The only reason why we know that is because this literally year 2017. It's called the Revelation 12. Then see this where no scientist in the world can disprove this. Think about that. All the scientists, even atheists, you know, carry this up to a scientist and say, disprove the fact that this came up. And he cannot. Why? Because of how specific it is. When you go and you look at the Revelation 12 sign in the sky, you're going to see it just like that. Clothed with the sun. You know why I say she was clothed with the sun? Because the sun was right here where our clothes is at. It was like, you know, that's why you actually wouldn't have been able to see it with your, because the sun was so bright, it would have brightened her out. And so clothed with the sun, she was too bright for you to literally see. Wow. What was the importance of that? Idolatry. How many people would have ran out there and took pictures of that thing? The guy, you're still going to get into that when you Google it. But, you know, first of all, that's them doing it. And then it's cartoonish anyway. I don't know. But anyway, she was clothed with the sun. The moon under her feet. The literal moon was under the feet of the constellation. And if you don't know, if you ain't caught on by now, we're talking about constellation Virgo in the year 2017. Around September the 22nd, 2017, which corresponds to the new moon day of that year. It was actually it fell on or about the first day of fall in the year 2017. A significant marker in itself, the fact that it fell on that day. But it was also pointing to a bigger time, and the time that we're in now, the time that you see in these subsequent verses where it talks about how this bride was taken off into the wilderness. That's talking about us, Stace. When it talks about how the bride was taken off into the wilderness, we may have already been in this particular wilderness in 2007, in 2015, since 2015. But remember all the significant changes that we went through as far as growing food and animals and, you know, really becoming a homestead is because our Father is preparing us for the day when we don't have Walmart trucks to rely on anymore. That's why we have a hand water pump and, you know, different stuff like that. Solar panels and And it says that upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Now see, this is a celestial event that only happens every so many thousands of years. There's an argument. Some say it's every 6,000 years that Adam saw the same thing back there. And some say it's a little bit longer than that. Not many say it's shorter than that. A few that say it's shorter than that. I mean, there may be one person that says that it happens every 2,000 years, but he an oddball and don't nobody believe him. Because it really happens, it's really so rare to see these celestials or these stars line up like this, but they did. Right for us to see. Not having to run out there and look up at the sky. You wouldn't have been able to see it anyway. No, for us to see it in proof, scientific facts. Like I said, take it down to the university. Take it to MIT and tell them to disprove it. They can't. And because they cannot disprove it, they can't disprove this book. That solidifies this book. Wrap this book and bust you in the head. Ain't nothing you can disprove about this book. And because they can't disprove that one little thing, here go another one. Through here. Chapter 13. Yeah. There he is talking about the Gregorian calendar there in chapter 13, where it talks about these 42 months. We did a class on this and understood that he's talking about the time between Constantine and Pope Gregory. And the beast that he's talking about is the papal system. The 666 is the gematria. When you look up word Pope Gregorius, you have to do it in Hebrew, Pope Gregorius. Word Pope too. Pope counts too. Pope Gregorius in Hebrew gematria equals 666, just like it said. The timing is right. And so it's predicting the future. When you go in and you look at Pope Gregory and you look at the statue that they created for him, you see dragons, just like it talks about here. Like the dragon gave him his power. They knew what was going on even. And so it predicts the future. So answer the question. Simple as that. Thank you, Stacey. Predicts the future. The Elite Four production said hi. The servants of the Most High, little one said the Grand Rising coaching family. Abba, above, below, beyond, all. Shalom. See, that's why you should read the comments, because then you ain't got to say nothing. But since I read it, now you got to respond.
Well, shalom, everybody, and hope you guys have a good Sabbath day. To have some successful preps today.
That's right, we're Sabbath day prep. Sabbath day prep. Like somebody said in the other video yesterday, every day is Sabbath day. Every day is Sabbath day. But it's not. We have to have separation. For a person like me, yeah, you can say every day is Sabbath day, because I wake up and I would, do the same. This is my work right here. And I would do this on a Sabbath day, except, I don't think it's right for you. It would mess up your Sabbath day. And, but I may end up doing a video or something, making a video or doing a class or something like that, which is literally work for me. This is what I do. The other stuff, the picking of the peas, the driving of the tractor, that's like warrior stuff, right, Stay? That's what we do on the side, what I do on the side. And so, one could fall in a trap and say every day is like a Sabbath day. But like we said in the other class, we have to create separation. It has to be holy. So, I find myself making a video before I get through the editing process. It's like, nope, let's go jump on the car. Anyway, but today is Sabbath day prep. Sabbath day according to the lunar cycle, the celestial cycle, sun, moon, and the star cycle. We're on Sabbath. We're on Friday, Sabbath days, Thursday evening to Friday evening, Sabbath days until the end of summer. Now, for those of you who have liberty and can do so, you want to take advantage of that. Starting this evening, You know, even if you have to go to work tomorrow, you wanna take as much advantage of it tonight. You know, take a bath, do your prayer, even wake up and elevate your spirit tomorrow. He understands you got to go to work, so you can be apologized. You have to have an additional Sabbath day. If that be the case, you're gonna have to have a Sabbath day on another day because you cannot work 7 days in a row. So, you know, you're gonna have to have. And if you got a job that makes you work 7 days in a row, you need to be looking for the exit door. You need to be heading. You need to be getting ready to get out of that one. I'll say that I usually don't tell people what to do when it comes to their job, but if they got you working 7 days a week, yeah, no, you're in the wrong place. Roy Prince of the Most High Yah says, Shalom. Glad to hear you.
Good morning.
Yeah, y'all glad to hear you.
I like sleeping out. I used to be, but in my old age, at 55, I enjoy my sleep and my beauty rest.
I mean, I still rise early.
I rise early, but I go back to sleep. I ain't gonna say I don't.
And so, anyway. Audience of one says Shalom, Coach and Sister Stacy. Code says the heavens declare the glory of God and shows and proclaims His handiwork. The radiation belt. You remember the radiation belt? You don't remember studying that in school?
No, I didn't study it.
Yeah. So you got to understand, in the scripture it describes lightning as the combination of fire and water. It's the combination of fire and water. And they may have a hard time understanding that until you get to electromagnetics in engineering school. So yeah, and understand that it's flowing fire. It's fire that's flowing. And so lightning is like fire and water, just like the scripture says it is. So that's what it means. It says that there's water above the earth. It's not necessarily talking about the clouds. It's actually talking about that flowing field that actually, the Van Allen belt, the radiation belt. Anyway, Stacy's showing disinterest, trying to slide out there. I can't talk now. No, we'll change the subject. You don't want to.
I'm just trying to beat the boys.
I know, but you can't just walk out of the class at your door. You're supposed to actually come in and ask questions and show interest and be like, oh, I didn't study that. What is it all about and all of it. Anyway, I'm losing battery power. What'd you say you about to go? The significant thing, the point, is that it can be proven scientific. You know, it's one thing to have the ideas, you know, the kitty land, you know, understanding that there's a firmament up there and you look up there and you wonder, some people wondering if it's clouds up there because they're made out of water, not realizing that there's a belt up there, Van Allen belt up there. And not only do you, Stacy, not realize that it's up there, not to pick on you, that you don't realize that it's up there, but the government, your U.S. government, and other governments around the world are using your tax money to actually try to destroy it and knock it down. That's funny. Anyway. Know nothing about it, but we're paying to destroy it. And if they can destroy that, it's like destroying his people and his followers. They think they can cancel him out. You know, and replace it with what they call like some man-made creation. You got Chinese people over there trying to create a whole nother sun. You know. And so like Cold Dirty Bastard points out, that's his glory, his handiwork. But here in today's time, like we talked about in last video, we're trying to put God in a box. and then we're trying to ship the box off to space somewhere, trying to just straight up forget about it. All Room Favor says, I found out recently that you have to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week on an oil rig. Yeah. Yeah. And that's bad. You know, for them, you don't want to, pick on them. You know, if somebody's out, maybe out there on an oil rig that's listening to this. But the thing about it, what I've learned in all of my experience and all of the years is, all they got to do is ask. If he were to go to his boss man and say, hey, boss man, I need to take a day off for this religious reason here, his chances are that his boss man will let him do so. It's going to probably be a private meeting. It ain't going to be no big deal because the boss man ain't going to want everybody to get the idea. But everybody ain't Israel. Chances are, and if it's 2 or 3 of them, then great. All 3 of them need to go in the boss's office and say, hey, we demand a day off. 1 day off. 12 hours out of, 144 hours we'll work for you, but we need these 12 hours off from work. And again, if the boss man said, no, get back over there, go back to work, then yeah, they may need to jump off the oil rig, swim back to shore. The Father, he's got angels out there to protect people who want to do his will. And if the boss man is intentionally trying to keep you off the path, it's like Pharaoh. You see what happened to Pharaoh when he tried to interrupt. Can't work there. Cold Dirty Bastard says Psalms 19 and 1. You know how to pull up Psalms 19? You want to read? He says, the sky is a blue dome with lights in it, waters in heaven above.
The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament of his handiwork. Psalms 19:1.
Haven't worked 7 days a week in years. Up before 4, the sun, feeling a surge of energy, just waiting to rise and give thanks. It's kind of symbolic to be a early riser. Looking, seeing patterns. Our Father puts spiritual revelations inside of material patterns. In other words, we can see. And so that's kind of in relationship to, our spiritual walk. That's why we're supposed to elevate at dawn. Stacey says she elevates at dawn and then she goes back to sleep. Well, I elevate at dawn and I don't go back to sleep. So you think of the different paths or the different kind of walk we have. Genesis 16 and 8. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. Again, a significant thing about this dome is it proves his existence. It proves that he made the earth have this dome up there. Again, that's how we know that the book of Genesis is true, because how many years did we go by realizing that there was something up there at all? It was probably only when they sent something up space and tried to bring it back into space that they realized that it's something up there burning stuff up, protecting us from stuff coming in. You too, cold dirty bastards. And we got serving at the Most High. Y'all start attracting the comments. So I guess that's about it. We made it through all of the comments. I think got everything off their heart. So what we wanted to do in this video, give everybody a chance to talk about the comments. To give comments. Again, make sure you guys get a copy of the Book of Life. You can do so over at coachinthefight.shop. Go to coachinthefight.shop. That's our store. We don't sell a lot of stuff out of the store. It's not a traditional store where, you know, we're trying to make a profit. It's just a place where you can go over and get stuff, and it's real easy, you know, because it's kind of like a store. It's like a free store, like a store you walk in and you're able to pick stuff up off the shelf and walk out with free stuff. So go on over there. You can get copies of the clock that we talked about, free copies of the clock. You can order copies of the book that we're talking about. You can even get free PDFs of the book over there. I think a lot of you are doing that already, where you're just putting the PDF on your phone and reading from such as you figure out what it's all about, and then you'll probably come and order it later. There's plenty of stuff. Well, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and close this video out. Appreciate servant of the Most High Yah talking about the Sabbath day, how he, declares, his requirements before he starts the job. That's important. We all should do that. Let people know up front, that we have these restrictions and they'll honor them. We don't want to surprise them when we get a job. We don't want to surprise people. But anyway, we're going to close this video out. If you got anything out of it, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. But either way, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you down there.
Shalom, everybody. Have a good Sabbath.